That's one of the hardest things about being in the woods, trying to get that coffee balanced. Don't want any spillage. Could get ugly. Check it out. It's columbine. That's red columbine. There's quite a bit of it here. It's in a perfect spot. And there's some down here, so I gotta be careful where I step. We just came into this area, and I just noticed how many there were, so gotta be careful. Gotta let it grow. And it's kind of off the beaten path, so hopefully nobody's gonna pick it. Stop picking things, people. Stop picking at it at all. It's crazy. Oh. Hopefully this is working. And I'm not cut off. I have one of those flip phones, and they cut in half. Well, they don't really cut in half, but they fold. And the reason I got one is because when I'm out in the field, and of course, you know, God forbid anybody make a pair of women's shorts that have actual pockets. I'm gonna have to get like cargo. You know, use what you got. You don't want to go all out. But yeah, so I bought a phone to fit my ladies' pockets. So I don't want to bore everybody, but something just happened to me that I wanted to talk about. And I am going to add this to my wildlife conversations. And it's about public safety and your safety. What I usually do on the weekends is I get up early, I have an amazing breakfast, and then I do a shitload mountain of friggin' homework, annoy the living crap out of myself, go blind looking at the computer for freaking hours. I have lunch, I watch a movie, or I try to catch up on everyone's YouTube videos. By the way, lately I haven't been able to leave a comment. I've just been in such a stupid rush, but I'm trying to get back into the habit of leaving comments because it's nice to communicate with all you people. You're so interesting. Sometimes I don't know what to say. Some of the things you do, like Daniel, Backwoods Barbarian, I'll leave a link below. Oh, man. I wish I could retire. So anyhow, speaking of that, makes me think of trapping. Do you like the view? This is our glorious Hudson River. That is, let's see, over here, that's the west side of the river, and you can't really see much of it, but that's the east side heading towards Connecticut. This side is heading towards Pennsylvania. Anyhow, when I'm done driving myself crazy with my homework, it's time to go treat myself to something like a latte and maybe a little biscuit or something, and then head out into the woods to get that spatial vision, to break up the tunnel vision that comes with looking at a computer constantly. And it does me a lot of good. So there's this one place that I've been going to for about 4 years now, and I noticed recently that there aren't many people there in the afternoon. I'm thinking, well, maybe everybody's coming in the morning, but it's so quiet. The last few times I was there, I was the only one there. So I'm there to bird watch and watch whatever else, and I'm not scared, but I'm very concerned and very cautious when I'm alone like that, because one thing holds true all the time, no matter where it is in the woods, that once the people leave, that's when the animals come back. Never fails. And if you're the only one out there, your chances of seeing more animals are greater than if the parking lot's got like 10 or 15 cars in it. So I go into the woods and I see some coyote scat on the trail. I'm like, all right, looks kind of dry, not unusual. I still see the same footprints that I saw a week ago in the mud. We really haven't had any rain. And I want to go to the top of the mountain, but I'm thinking, you know, I like to be alone, but predation is way up, and I've said it a million times in some of my other videos. Let me give you some stats. New York State, DEC, Department of Environmental Conservation, estimates anywhere between 20 and 30,000 coyote just in this state alone. And those numbers are probably low. Your chances of seeing one are pretty damn good, especially if they can't get in if they're, you know, shoot away from the town, which they should be. The men should be hunting them back, and the women who are willing to do so. But we don't live in those times anymore. This isn't 1968, and this isn't 1978 either. Everybody is a Sally Sob story. Sorry if I stole that from something, but it sounds familiar. But yeah, that's basically it. You know, all this wimpy wimp stuff. So anyhow, this is what happens. I'm picking my way through the woods, and I got my glasses, and these are Bushnell 1042s, and they're pretty damn good, and I got them for hunting years ago because they look right through the forest, and they also help me hunt for sheds. So while I'm doing this and I'm looking for birds, I saw a golden crown kinglet, which was really cool, and I'm not seeing anything, and I'm looking for things other than just birds, and I'm not seeing a coyote or a bear. Bear is pretty easy to see, but a coyote is sneaky. Sure enough, I stopped for a minute to identify a plant on an app, and that's when I get into trouble, because I do work outside, and when you're doing your data either on the computer or on your paperwork, that's when you really have to pay attention, and I didn't, and I should have. So what do you think I hear? Maybe 35 yards away from me, the pitter-patter of little coyote feet, and I look over. Actually, it was in this direction. It wasn't here. I'm about 5 miles away from where I was. I left there. I look over, and there is the mangiest, most disgusting, sickly looking coyote I've ever seen. He had huge patches along his flank and his back that were, I'm just looking at some hikers up there. They have fluorescent hats on. I wonder what they think's going on. Maybe they just like them. But anyhow, oh no, it's a dog. Dog has a vest that's fluorescent green. Sorry, squirrel. Yeah, he looked disgusting. He looked like he was at death's door. Didn't make any noise except the sound of his footprints, and his tail looked like a rat tail. There was no hair on it whatsoever. It was disgusting. So, what's the first thing out of my mouth but fuck? You know, that's the first word that came to my mind. So I figured, well, I might as well shout. So he takes off in the other direction. And what do you think I'm doing? I didn't have my coffee in my hand, but got to be careful today too, because it's kind of warm even with the breeze. So you got to watch out for the snaky poos. So what do you think I'm doing? I'm getting the backpack off, and I got my walking stick, and the reason I use this is because I have a bad knee from an accident years and years ago, and sometimes if I want to eat a little too much ice cream, the weight causes problems. So, and I put my walking stick under my arm, and I go into my pouch to get my air horn out. Now, and another video that I did, and I'll put this on a playlist and I'll put a card up above. Last year I had an encounter with two coyote coming down the straightaway in a path across the river here when I was doing, it was kind of an impromptu survey. And the only thing I had was a rock. So I picked it up. I thought, I ain't got nothing else. Well, just then, a doe springs out from the woods on the right-hand side of the trail and starts trampling them. And this was June, late June? Yeah. And so that meant she had a fawn somewhere, and these two bastards were on the hunt. So she starts beating the hell out of them, and I'm yelling, "Get him, Mom! Get him, Mom!" And she chases them off. So I am very dedicated to my work, and I said, I'm going to get this survey done. I had about 75 yards left. I went and I did it. I turned around. Here come the coyotes again. So I have had this Orion blaster in my backpack. Somebody gave it to me probably around 2010 or 11. Never had to use it before until the last couple of years. So I used it last year and it worked. I talked to a CB friend of mine. He said when he was stationed up in Fairbanks, Alaska, he said air horns were standard gear when he was in the Army. He said because what happens is when you use them, a polar bear is nothing but evil on Earth. But what it does is it confuses them because the sound directly affects the pineal gland, which is our compass, and it causes enough disruption to give you enough time to head out in the other direction. And that's why they run off. It's not the brrrr sound, it's how it affects their brain. So there I am, taking everything apart, and I dropped my walking stick. So I thought to myself, all right, I did okay this time. He didn't come after me, but I need to never let it fall to the ground when something like that happens because of the knee situation. So that is your public service announcement. Just a few facts about mange. They say, if you Google it, they say that a mangy coyote is not a threat. It's just dehydrated, anemic, malnourished, and looking for food. Well, you could be food, all right? They're desperate. And when you're that hungry and that sick, it doesn't matter if it's man or beast. It will make you crazy. And a major opportunist, because your only thought in life at that point is to survive. And I've said this before throughout my other wildlife conversations. This is not a game out here. There may be a nice place. Christ, the freaking town is loud. It may look like a lovely place and a lot of people go there, and yes, it is. It's absolutely beautiful, but with a cold estimate by New York State DEC of 30,000 coyote, which I think their publication is pushing that to the lowest number. You got to watch out, because they're predators, and that's all there is to it. And the reason we're humans and we survive is because we're smart. So don't take any chances. Don't think, oh, the poor thing, let me go pet it, because it's going to chew your freaking arm off. It's not worth it. Not worth it at all. So I just wanted to give you the benefit of my experience, what just happened, and just try to avoid it. And everybody, like, say a prayer for me that I can retire soon, because man, if I trap, I'm gonna trap like there's no tomorrow. I know I got my trapper's license, what, in 2021 or 2022, and I haven't had a chance to get out yet. The only trapping I've really done throughout the years consistently is within my own yard, trapping groundhogs, and you know, that's not too hard. But yeah, I've trapped well over 100 of them, but it's a lot different as I see all of you go through, all of my trapping YouTube friends. But yeah, I would like to trap the living hell out of the predator population around here. And we all need more bearskin rugs. Maybe not bear stew, kind of like eating a dog, but hey, to each his own, right? All right, folks, thank you for joining me. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. And, you know, pay attention out there. Be aware. I get the feeling, because even though I was looking all over, and these are, I mean, these are great. I can see it. I can see a robin in the leaves right now, way the hell up the hillside. But I was surrounded by an infestation of barberry, and they're not really starting to leaf out yet, but they're so dense, and his coloring fits right in with the color of that plant. He was probably right in the barberry, like right next to me, and I didn't even know it until he got up and he moved. So, all right, folks, once again, thank you for joining me, and have a great day. Bye-bye, folks. Oh, and if I don't see y'all, I hope everybody has a very happy Easter. Bye-bye. Oh, and before I forget again, let me introduce you to Stanley. This is old school. It's a really cool one, too. It's not super old because it's got the sippy top. But I like it because especially when you're out turkey hunting, you don't have to take the cup off. And you don't have as much movement. It's kind of slick. And yes, they all have the lead solder in the bottom. I saw something on Instagram where one was like, oh my God, I found lead. She probably did some kind of research or whatever. I don't think that test was actually positive, but she probably did some research and found that there's a lead solder in the bottom. But I did my own research on it, and it's not leaching in. to the cup part of the thermos. So yeah, just kind of rambling on. But nothing like old school, right? I don't know if anybody saw it. I think it was on Instagram. Somebody had a picture of the new style Stanley tumblers, and it had a picture of Mr. Roper on it from Three's Company. And I said, this is my Stanley cup. I thought that was really cute. All right, folks. Bye-bye.